Hello and welcome to Lit Illuminated. This is a space for us to talk about books and not only how they help us understand ourselves, but how they help us connect to the world around us. So, previously, I talked about The Book of I by David Greig and my love of this short little novella and how much it impacted me, not only the story itself, but my whole process of finding it and the connection to Scotland. And so, of course, I've been talking to friends about this as well. And my one friend texted me after reading it and loving it that she's like, "What series is it talking about? Like, what series is it part of?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I remember seeing that in the acknowledgments, but I just didn't really pay much attention to it." And so I decided to look it up. And this book is part of a series called the Darkland Tales. And I think they're just considered short novels, but it could be novellas, I guess you could call it in that space about Scotland and Scottish history. And the Book of I in that series, I think, was called Columba's Bones. So not the Book of I. I guess when it was printed for the US, it was shifted over. I think it went to a different imprint and became the Book of I. Personally, I like that title better. And I love this one so much, and the cover is so much better. But anyway, the Book of I was part of that. And so I looked at the other books, and one of them was Queen MacBeth that I picked up and read by Val McDermid. McDermid, I think I'm saying that right. And I also just picked up Hex today from the bookstore. So I'm sure I'll be telling you more about that one once I've read it. But I really liked this whole retelling of Macbeth and the idea that Macbeth, as most people know it from Shakespeare, is obviously not accurate towards history or what was really going on in that time, but it used some of the players, the key players were part of that same narrative. And I had read that about my huge book that I'm reading about Scotland by Magnus Magnuson, I think it is, which I've also talked about on Lit Illuminated, and I'd already read that whole Macbeth chapter. But I thought this was really interesting to take it from the Queen's point of view and what it means for her and her to take center stage. And what was interesting about this is that we come into this present day where she is the Queen Mother, her son is the king right now, and she is in hiding on a monastery on an island for her own safety. And we get that storyline of her life, and then we also get the past. And so there's this movement through the piece that takes us from her current day of where she is and what's going on to what happened when she met Macbeth, their whole, start of their relationship and how they met, like that whole thing. And we kind of go back and forth in time with that. But what I love so much about what she did in this space was that each of those timelines ended on like this tension or this moment of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? So you leave the present day with this like, what's going to happen? And you move into like this moment of, oh, and then this is how we met, and even that ends with like, oh my god, now what's going to happen? And so then you're back in the present day, and so this movement back and forth with those tensions is really interesting. So just an example of that, one of the sections where we're in what you call present day for her, for the Queen. It ends with, and I am the only one with both hands free when the door swings open, and you're like, oh no, who is it? And then it moves into the hunting party. Like we're back into the past of when she first met Macbeth, and so you're just like, ah. And so I thought it was like an interesting way that Val added these tension moments because it was a very fraught life. There was a lot of tension there and not knowing if she was safe, if her son was safe, after the death of Macbeth and what was happening in that. But then we also had these beautiful moments of their relationship and their getting to know each other, which was also fraught as well. But then later on, like after her husband dies and she marries Macbeth and moves into the space of Queen and what that is and what that means and finally being in this space of someone you love. So there's lovely moments like that, but this idea that there's this real tension, I think that really is connected to the time itself, and like what's actually happening. And I just love that it was from her point of view. There's like a strong female bond in this space between her and the women around her, and this beautiful way of really getting to see her journey and her discovery of self in this space, and what she's capable of. So I really liked it. So I'm sure I'll be looking into Hex next and reading that, and I'll probably get back to you on that. But I'm really loving this space of these novellas about Scotland and the Scotland history, and just kind of digging into these spaces and this connection more to Scotland itself. So thanks for joining me here today on Lit Illuminated. I hope this is a nice little intro to Queen MacBeth. I encourage you to pick it up, as well as The Book of I by David Greig. Two good books about Scotland, short little novels that you can read in one sitting. Have a great day.